Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started so we can honor everybody's time and move forward. So thanks everybody for coming. This is our first, well, at least my first attempt at holding a virtual event to help us get ready to submit the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowships, or SURF grants. My name is Michael Moore. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Research and Mentoring here at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. And I guess just so we all have a chance to get to know each other and kind of the expertise in the room, maybe if you'd introduce yourself with your name. I'll put all these things in the chat with your name, what department you're in, and let's see what else. But that's it. Your name and department. So we'll start with one of our other hosts today, Noreen Siraj.
Yeah, I am Noreen Siraj. I am Associate Professor in Chemistry in the School of Physical Sciences. That's it.
I guess I can go next. My name is Rafaela Lesh, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Biology.
I'll go ahead and jump in. I'm Sharon Kaufman. I'm in the, excuse me, the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. So I'll be your contact for the actual submission of your proposal to the Arkansas Department of Higher Education. So my office will intake and review your final documents and make sure you have everything attached and completed the way it needs to be. We'll obtain the final institutional signature and on the proposal documents, and then we'll actually complete the submission to ADHE in our office.
Okay, I'm Bob Belford in chemistry, and I have an undergraduate student who might be appropriate for a SURF grant.
Someone else like to go next?
Hello,
Okay.
Ali Abusheba from the engineering department.
Thank you.
I'm Nick Paul from electrical and computer engineering.
Thank you.
I'm Ann Robinson from the School of Education and the director of the Jody Mahoney Center. We do a lot of grant work, but I am investigating this for our educational undergraduates. And for the first time in my long history, I am teaching an undergraduate course in gifted education in one of our programs. I'm very interested in having undergraduate education majors understand and carry out research and inquiry projects. And so I have a special interest in this and am delighted to be here.
Thanks, Ann. Jack or Mohammed?
My name is Jack Seabaugh, and I'm in the Electrical and Computer Engineering department.
Thanks, Jack.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Ghazi. I'm from Chemistry department.
Thanks, everybody, for that brief introduction. So I don't necessarily have a whole lot planned. Hopefully, this is more of a Q&A section. What I've dropped in the chat is a link to the ADHE SURF site. And we also have our own, which Sharon, if you would mind popping that in the chat, that'd be great. So I think some of the important key pieces to think about for SURF, obviously, undergraduate in the title, it's for undergraduate students. One of the main differences between SURF and Signature is that SURF also provides stipends for students. It also provides travel support for going to conferences, provides stipends for faculty. And depending on the 2 months or the two different time periods you choose to submit your SURF grant to support, there are different support amounts for the students depending on those timeframes. And please, Sharon, you've been at this a lot longer than I have. If there's anything you want to interject, please feel free to do so.
Sure. So as far as the faculty stipend and the student stipends are concerned, there are 4 separate funding periods. The first one is the spring only period. So that would be like January 1st of 24 to May of 24. So that's just for that one semester. And that has a reduced stipend amount for both the student and the faculty person. So, and I believe it's $625. I don't want to get it wrong, but I don't have my documents behind my other screen. So $625 is the available stipend for the student. For all of the other project periods, the 3 other ones, it's spring, summer, spring, fall, or spring, summer, and fall. The stipend for the student goes up to, and I made a mistake. It actually goes, it's $1,250 for the student for the spring semester. It's $2,500 if you do any of the other 3 time periods. So the cost is shared 50% by ADHE and 50% by the university. So when I said $625, that's the ADHE portion of the cost for the stipend. The $1,250 and $2,500 are the stipend totals for the student. And that with the faculty stipend, there's some flexibility there. I think that the limited amount of the faculty share overall is limited to $750. And that can be used for either the faculty stipend or supplies or travel. Do I have any questions about that?
If I can ask a question about that. So this is geared for undergraduates, and is there like, for example, a student that is an undergrad now, but will like not be an undergraduate by, let's say, May, is there some like limit where they're allowed to still apply for that, even if they will stop being an undergraduate in the time period that they'll work on that grant?
I think you just have to indicate when their expected graduation date is. And we have had a student awarded, I want to say in the last couple of years, that was going to graduate in the middle of their period, but they were still awarded a SURF grant since they were currently an undergraduate. So
thank you.
Yeah.
And Sharon, they can apply for 1 semester grant now if they are graduating after May, so they can apply for the first semester grant only, not for spring, fall. They can only apply for spring.
If they're going to graduate?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there any relationship between SURF and NCUR? In other words, have some familiarity with NCUR through another means, and I know one is state funding and NCUR is national. Is there any relationship, or do you encourage SURF applications to include NCUR attendance and presentation?
I'm not familiar with any situation where those are are related to each other.
Okay.
So I don't even think I've seen it come up in a SURF proposal.
Okay. Thanks, Sharon. But it would not be prevented, correct?
No, no.
Because that's where lots of undergraduates go to present their research nationally.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
While others are thinking maybe some other questions they might have, Noreen, would you mind talking about the process from your perspective as a mentor, how you recruit your students and how you work with them to submit the SURF proposal?
So every year I showcase my research to the chemistry chapter meetings here in ACS in the chemistry department. So students who are a chemistry major, they always know my research activities. And I do give an invited talk at different chemistry seminars as well. So the students knows your research activities, so they can start working with you. So for the SERV grant and the signature grant, those both are due in this fall semester. So I always like work with them, whatever project they are interested in. So they should start from August. And then there are a lot of forms required in the SERV grant, like the mentor form, mentor CV, student form, student CV, and recommendation letters from 3 different faculty members. And all the detail you can find at RSP website that what different forms are required. So summertime is the best time to prepare this form from the faculty side, at least, like your CV should be ready, your mentor form should be ready, and all those things, okay? But the student who has good GPA, he has higher chances to get selected for the SERF award, because we should pay attention on the selection criteria. Like, I don't know you, I am sharing this. So you can see that there are different ranking to get the good score in the SERF award actually. So students who has really good academic success, like his GPA is good, his curricular activities is very like good, and he has to showcase these things in his CV. A student has to submit the CV in this grant. So then usually the reviewer gives the full points if the GPA is good and he's involved in extracurricular activities, any kind of volunteer activities. And then, of course, qualification of the mentor and research team, which mentor has to prove that he is qualified enough through their publication, that they are really active in publication, or they are really active in getting different grants, and they are really active to supervising wide range of students, like really diverse group they are mentoring. So usually most of the mentor do get the full points in that area too. So the third thing comes to the project, actually, what project you are proposing. I learned so much in the proposal that if we are making, because there are a lot of applications, they receive hundreds of applications. So it is not possible for the reviewers to see all the minor details in your application. So it is only 5-page grant, and it is double space, actually, double line spacing is there. So you have to be very creative to send your message that what you are proposing in this grant. So always figure works the best. So if you have very summarized picture, what is your project is talking about, that project will give the whole idea what is your proposal about. That is always a very effective strategy. And in that way, maybe reviewer is very busy because he has to review so many grants, so they will give you the more points to the proposal. And then you have to highlight what is the significance, what is the innovation of this study, and then methodology, very briefly, very summarized, because you don't have a lot of space. And in that way, you are going to complete your proposal. And then they will see some other thing that you are a STEM major or not. So what ADHE is doing, they have the funding, and they always try to split 50-50 to the STEM major and non-STEM major. And what I have heard previously, they never receive many application from non-STEM major. So most of the application they are receiving from STEM side. So sometimes they have to increase the amount of the STEM application. Okay. So whatever their total lump sum money is, that they have to give to every single state. It is like every single city, every single university in the Arkansas state. So they cannot give the, for example, if they are getting so many good applications from Fairfield, it is not possible for them to fund every single application to Fairfield and not give any funding to different university like the ULR and UAPB or other university. They have to give equal chances to different university, but there is no way that 100% application can be funded through every single university. So, but it depends upon how much they are submitting. So if they set up the criteria that, okay, we have that much money for the STEM, so, and they are giving the money to Fairfield, maybe 30% application they are funding from Fairfield, they will be funding, they will be distributing 70% of money to the rest of the other university in the Arkansas state. So it always goes like how much we are submitting, then it will be funded. So I always give opportunity to every single student in my research lab, whoever is involved with me in the research. However, their GPA is not good sometimes, but I always give the equal opportunity, and they have to turn it in all the documents like their CV, their transcripts, their letter of recommendation, their student form, all those things before the deadline. For example, RSP has the deadline of October 15th, and my deadline should be a week before. So I should have everything in my hand a week before, then I can have a chance to review and to see if there is any mistake and get the signature from every single student, because it requires their signature on the cover page and everything. So then, yeah, you can submit your proposal.
Thanks, Noreen. Those are really detailed, thought out example. Appreciate you sharing. So Sharon, can we go over some specific dates and then we'll take a look at the budget page? So when are things due to you? When are things due to ADHE? When can they maybe find out if they get the award? And then when would that award actually hit the UALR bank account? And then we
Okay.
could go to Rafaela's question.
Let me I just want to double check my deadline because there's so many dates in my head. So our deadline for ORSP, that's my office, to receive all of your final paperwork is Monday, October 3rd by 5 p.m. So, you know, I
23rd,
anticipate
right? 23rd.
23rd. Yep. Did I say 25?
You said, I think you just said
Sorry.
3rd.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
23rd. Okay, so yeah, so I anticipate if you need any assistance, you can start contacting me immediately if anyone needs help putting their items together. The proposals are due for our office to submit them to ADHE on November 1st, and we will do that electronically. They have an online system where we upload the proposals. Let's see, what else did you mention?
When they
Those are
might
the-
find out if they get the award or not?
So normally ADHE will send letters directly to the student and the mentor, so they don't necessarily route through our office like most grant awards to UALR do. So the student and mentor should receive notification before we do, and that's usually in December. And then the project start dates are January 1st. And we will usually get the information from ADHE to confirm the awarded projects the first or second week of January. And then as soon as we have all of that put together, we'll set up an award in our financial system for UALR for the student and the mentor to access the funds as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Sharon. Rafaela,
Sure.
what was your question?
So my question was who's actually reviewing these applications? Because I was just thinking about writing. If we only have very limited space to get our point across, I'd like to tailor that towards whoever is reviewing the application.
The reviewers, they select from different universities in Arkansas, actually. So senior professors in the universities of Arkansas system, yes.
All right, thank you.
And I am one of them, actually, so I know.
Any more questions before we take a look at the budget page? Hearing none. Sharon, would you mind taking us through? You should have permission to share your screen.
Okay, so this is the SURF page on the ORSP website. On this page, we have, here's the access to the SURF website. They produce 2 documents, so they have the basic instructions for submitting, and then they have a packet of their application documents. We have taken the application documents and separated them, so just to have it available for you to fill out individually. We also have our internal routing form, which we require for all proposals submitted at UALR for external funding. The document is found here, and there's some basic instructions on how to complete the PAR document. PAR stands for Proposal Authorization Request Form. Like I said, that we require that for all external requests of funding. So let's look at the budget. The budget, we have them broken down into 2 sections just because the stipend amount changes. So if you were submitting for the spring only proposal, slow. So there are two different documents that are required. One is this justification form, and on the second tab, it's the summary form. The top section is the mentor cost. So salary, this would be for 9-month faculty only. So typically a faculty mentor would provide a stipend for themselves in the summer, so as summer salary, and they would also be required to include fringe benefits for that, and that's calculated here at 18%. They do have flexibility for the mentor costs, so the total mentor costs can't exceed $750, but you can choose to use this for the mentor, or you could put it all in supplies for the student or all in travel. I don't think there are any restrictions that I've come across where there's been an issue with someone choosing to use this however they want to for the project. For the student costs, the stipend amount from ADHE is $625 for the spring only. And then the travel costs are added and just cannot exceed $2,000. So there have been situations where someone's asked to request supplies costs here instead of travel costs, and that's never been an issue either. As long as it's justified in the proposal, ADHE's been pretty flexible with what the student can allow. They are limited though with the stipend, there's no flexibility in that amount. So as you can see from, just a second, my second tab. Let me just get out of the way. Okay, so this provides the information that there is a cost share for this project, and that is for the student stipend. So for spring only, it's a 1-to-1 match. So here's the share from ADHE, and this is the share from UALR. So the total stipend for the student would be $1,250. And then the additional mentor costs and a student's additional costs would be added here for a total project cost. Do y'all have any questions about this?
So Sharon, that's a very simple budget to fill out, and we should use this very spreadsheet in order to
Yes.
do so.
That's right.
Thank you.
And so the other spreadsheet, if you're asking for a different time period, it's the same form basically. The amount for the mentor is still the same, but the student stipend is increased for these other 3 periods to $1,250 from ADHE, and then $1,250 as a cost share. So everything else stays the same. So the additional student costs as well cannot exceed $750. And so there's a tab for each of the time periods. So there's a tab for spring and summer. And these should all self-calculate. A tab for spring and fall. Okay, does anyone know how to get this off the bottom of my page? I don't know how to make it go away. Oh, that helps. Okay.
So let me clarify, a student doing a full year surf could acquire $2,500.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
Plus travel. Plus
Yes.
travel.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
2,500 is just their stipend amount.
Thank you.
And so they would have available the $750 for the travel, and then there's the additional $750 for mentor costs. However, it's decided that that wants to be spent. Okay, do y'all have any other questions about this? It is pretty straightforward, but it's always a little confusing just because of the cost share and they do have some flexibility in one area, but then it's restricted for the stipend and there's no flexibility in that.
Maybe if I can just ask a question on that, or kind of like a question comment thing. I love that we have these spreadsheets. That makes the budget so much easier. Do we also have specific budget forms to use for other grant applications?
We do have some there. The one on our website, we have two different versions on our website that are, one is very basic and is kind of geared towards NIH projects, and then another one is just a detailed spreadsheet, and it's similar to this. It's not always self-calculating as far as additional tabs to summarize or anything like that. So, but you can always contact me directly and I'll provide whatever we have.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay. Do you have any other questions about this budget? I'll stop sharing.
Are there expectations in this project for the undergraduate to be sure that they present their findings publicly to an official organization or within campus? What is that expectation there? If there's a travel grant, I would assume that they need to attend and submit an application to an association for presentation of this work?
I think Noreen may be best to answer that question.
Yes, there's a travel grant portion is there, which is 750. Whenever you are submitting the application, you have to report 750 is a travel. We will be used for travel. The thing is that I usually send out my student, but some of the time students refuse to travel because their classes or their quizzes are exactly on the same day, so they cannot participate. But so what we do, if a student is unable to participate in the conference because of any reason, because of their exams or something, then I request ORSP to transfer that travel funding to the material and supplies funding. So they have, and they already contact like ADHE people, and they usually allow it. So there is no issue. If a student is unable to travel, then you can change your budget later. But I would not suggest you, when you're submitting the grant, you should say there is no travel. No, you should put 750 as a travel. But later on, if your student is unable to travel, then you can adjust that budget into materials and supplies or buy some other things.
Okay, that is very helpful. My follow-up question is there an expectation when you write the proposal? Is there an expectation for the student to be presenting this work within the project timeframe or after the project timeframe? There are some sorts of proposals for student research require a public, and that public might be the department, it might be your research team, or it might be an off-campus group. But is that expectation required in this proposal?
So they do provide the travel funding because they have the intention that students should participate and travel in the conference, okay? But in the last 5 years, I have never figured it out. They never ask any reports from you. So where did you present? But whenever my student gets the grant, I made them mandatory that you have to present somewhere. So it is my requirement, but ADHE never come back and ask for reporting from us. So they have to participate at Expo if they are getting the SURF grant, and they have to participate in other conferences if they are able to travel.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
And there's also in the instructions, there's information about, hold on just a second. I just lost my page. There's some information about what the student is required to do as far as the presentation. Hold on just a second. So it says on page 8 of the instruction document that the student's required to submit a 1-page abstract on the findings upon completion of the project, and there are dates for that depending on the term or the project period that they've selected or submitted to. And then it also says that fellowship recipients are required to present the findings at a state or national conference, or attend a meeting of experts in their discipline. So,
Yeah,
There-
but they never requested anything from us after
Right.
that. Funding us, they never come back, so I don't know how to report.
Right. It's a little, like I said, there's some flexibility there. I think through COVID too, there's been some issues with anyone traveling or attending conferences. So there's been a lot of flexibility, but they do have that written into their instructions that there's an expectation that they would submit, or at least submit an abstract or present. So,
I was just thinking that in a time frame like this, you cannot expect an accepted proposal to present, only a submitted one at a state or national venue.
right.
Got it. Research Expo, different deal. Of course we can say,
Mhm.
gotta do this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for the great questions. Any more questions for either Sharon or Noreen? Sharon, you were mentioning to me that there have been some changes this year. What were the
There,
slight changes?
there were some changes, but they were very minor. I mean, it was just, like a couple of words here and there. It didn't change the meaning, but we did have to update the documents. So, but no significant changes in either the instructions or the application information. I will say though that in the past, the instructions ask for the student's official transcript. So there have always been a lot of questions about that and the timing for them to be able to obtain an official transcript. But it can be a printed document, so it doesn't have to be the original sealed transcript that isn't opened, because we will have to open them in our office and scan them in order to electronically submit the proposals. So as long as it's the official transcript, they can have it electronically or receive it electronically and then send it to me as part of their proposal package. Which usually, it seems like it saves a lot of time for students when they don't have to go get that printed, sealed transcript.
Thanks, Sharon. When they're ready to submit their surf grant, do they email it to you? What's the preferred method to get that?
The preferred method is to email it to me. The best situation is if the student has the documents completed electronically, so maybe not handwritten. We do have a lot of handwritten proposals and they get funded as well. So it's not a deal breaker if a student like fills out their cover page or their mentor or their student form, information form by hand. But if anyone needs assistance, even filling out the PDF, since we don't have the electronic fillable documents, if someone needs assistance with converting PDF documents, we'll assist with all that if we need to. But by the deadline, we should have an electronic copy of all of the application documents along with the PAR. That's the proposal authorization form, the internal document. Should work with their mentor to have that completed. And that document will need to be signed by the mentor and the mentor's department and the college. So it has to go through those 3 levels of signature before it comes to me for final processing. Okay.
And that's one of the reasons we're asking for it on the 23rd, so we can make sure all of those boxes are checked.
Right.
What other questions? Sharon, if they're thinking about submitting SURF, do they need to email you beforehand, just submit the application? What is the best process to work with your office as they're
It would be,
developing these
it would be
materials?
great to let me know if someone is, I'll go ahead and drop my email in here too. To let me know by email that they're preparing to submit. The student can do that or the mentor, but if it's a student, they should let me know who their mentor is and maybe a project title. That way I kind of can start making a folder and keep a list of who I need to contact if I don't have all the paperwork.
So I usually start with the PAR form. So it is the best way to get to RSP notify that we are planning to submit a proposal. So if you will fill out the PAR form with the budget and budget justification, so they can start making the folder. So the last item you can be dropping off like your proposal. So other forms you can drop it off the early actually. So it will be easy for them. It will be easy for us too.
Any other questions, or Noreen, any other words of wisdom you can think of as they're submitting?
No, I will just say that give this opportunity to as many students as you can in your lab, in your research facility, whatever you're doing. So you never know, like sometimes they have to give the funding and they don't find so many good applications. So you have to try actually. And I submit always, I never had any restriction that you cannot submit more than 2 or more than 5. You can submit as many as possible. And I think it is the best way to encourage a student, and students sometimes getting very excited. They're excited that, oh, they are submitting a project, and of course they get the money. It makes them super excited. So they really put effort in their work, in their hours in the lab. So they always want to be present. And they learn a lot after getting all this experience actually. And I always involve my student to write the project also, like, okay, what you're thinking, just draft something for me so I can tune it and submit it. And so in that way, I provide some kind of opportunity to them that they can draft something. Sometimes they really provide very good diagrams, which can really provide a good schematic of their proposal. So it make my job easy to finalize their proposal actually.
Thanks, Noreen. And I think it's also important to just realize how many opportunities our students have to share that information, especially here locally in Arkansas. Obviously, we have the Research Expo, which will happen April 19th. We also have Embry, which a lot of our students share their projects at, and then some students also get selected to present at posters at the Capitol, which also happens in the spring. So lots of opportunity to share their work with other people and network, which I think is also a really important thing to think about when you're thinking about these projects. Not only how are you helping students think about the projects they can do, but the networking that these opportunities can provide for them. Any other questions? Hong, you joined us a little later. Anything you want to know? Any questions on your mind? You're muted.
God.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have, so far I haven't have a target for undergraduate research student yet. So attend this, just want to have some information. If I have students, then I know where to start.
Good. And also, just since you joined late, Hong, we're recording and we'll send out the recording for this meeting.
Okay,
too.
that's great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Happy to do it. I realize that a significant portion of faculty on the call are STEM, but one of the things I want to implore people who are in the non-STEM disciplines, ADHE separates the money when they're thinking of allocating by discipline. And what has happened in the past is Jeremy Ecke, the associate dean over in Chase, was sharing at their directors meeting the other day. We've often, or ADHE has often had to add more money to STEM because the other disciplines have been undersubmitted. So please, if you are a non-STEM discipline, especially submit the SURF grant. We're looking for more non-STEM opportunities because we know our faithful STEM people will always come through.
Thank you, Michael. The great irony in all of this is that I'm from the School of Education and I can work in non-STEM areas, but I've been largely funded at the federal level for teaching engineering to young children. So I get the problem.
Any other words to share, Sharon?
Can't think of anything that we haven't already covered.
Yes, just start the forms. If you are planning to submit, then this is the first thing you should start. Mentor form, mentor CV, and then student form, student CV, and their transcript, because they have to usually order the transcript to the system. It takes a day or two to come, and then I always have to face the issue that students are not getting the letter of recommendation on time from faculty members. So if we will push them early, okay, try to get it in a week or so, then you will have all the material ready by the due date.
I have questions. So this grant is only for individual undergraduate students, right? Not for group students. I see. Thank you.
So we don't have any more questions. I don't want to keep people on here, but certainly feel free to email myself or Sharon. If you have particular questions, probably Sharon's a better person because they're probably all ORSP related, but I'm happy to try or forward them on to Sharon if I don't know the answer. Yeah, and hopefully we'll try and do something like this on a regular basis. Just ADHE's requirements change from time to time, so I think doing one of these a year would be super helpful. I really hope to see many SURF applications from all of you out there, and have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And all the best.
Thank you.